There's a pandemic that's killing men in America today. It's not COVID. It's not AIDS. It's not alcoholism. It's not drug addiction. It's not STDs. It's a silent killer, and it's been growing for decades. The pandemic we're talking about is obesity and mental illness. And in a lot of cases, the two, they're actually related. And for a lot of guys, it's like a daily battle against their two evil stepsisters. My guest on Unfiltered today is no stranger to the vagaries of physical and mental dysfunction in men. He's a recognized expert in the field of men's health and nutrition. He's a certified coach dedicated to helping people reach their optimal fitness goals, especially for people who've all but given up on the notion that they could actually regain the same level of fitness they enjoyed when they were in high school. I know, big ask, but it's possible. And we've seen that. I've seen it in my own life. He and his equally gifted wife, Michelle, own Shepherd Studios, and they're both here. Me in Seattle, you guys in Las Vegas. We're talking about the grim realities of bad eating habits, often the lazy lifestyle many of us struggle with. And they offer some amazing, simple takeaways that could be game changers, starting with your next meal. What most people don't know about Vance Shepherd is that he, in my opinion, is the consummate triple threat. He's an inductee of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a professional songwriter, a recording artist, an engineer with over 2 decades of experience performing with some of music's most iconic stars. He's a cool dude. There's no question about it. I got that vibe from him as just the great guy that he is. A couple of months ago when we were together at a songwriters conference, and it's just so great to reconnect with you, Vance and Michelle, today. Welcome to Unfiltered. Great to see you guys.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure to be here, Phil. We're just so happy to be on your show and help your viewers out. Just understand this because we got a lot to share with everyone. And for your viewers exclusively, we're going to have something that we can help them out with a personal phone call afterwards. I don't know if we shared that with you or not, but maybe help someone, reach their physical struggles that they're having in their body. Maybe it's obesity, maybe it's lack of energy, maybe it's digestive. And so my wife here, Michelle, and I, we're just here to help you and serve your people. That's why we're here.
Yeah. I get that sense for sure in the conversation we had prior. Let's talk about, before we get into this, Thanksgiving. I'm still in a food hangover from Thanksgiving.
Food coma.
I was a bad boy. How about you guys? Did you overeat?
No,
we did not overeat. We did really good. We split a small turkey dinner. So we did get to eat a good dinner, but it was, portioned right. So it was fine.
But you live in Las Vegas, so you could just as easily have gone to, the buffet at the Cosmopolitan at the 50th floor and eaten for 5, right?
Yes, we could have.
Yeah. Let's get right into this. We've got so much to cover today, and there's a real urgency because Christmas is here. The Christmas season is with us. Some of us have already sabotaged our best intentions, starting with Thanksgiving. I had the lofty goal of really eating sensibly and going for walks and going to the gym and all that. I've already stopped doing that, 4 days after. Is there any hope for us, Michelle and Vance? What can we do?
absolutely. So 70 to 80% of our fitness goals, first and foremost, are with what we eat. Understanding our food not as a deprivation diet. So as people, if they're looking to lose weight and they're going on a diet, the thing that we have to look at, is it backed by science? Can a baby do it? Can a pregnant mother do it? Can a 90-year-old do it?
Yeah,
that's what we're looking at. And is it sustainable for life?
Yeah.
So when you start looking at keto and Atkins, these kind of diets, yeah, they may work. You may lose water weight and feel good, but the second what happens is your blood sugar dips, and then they put the carbs back in after they get off, and now their blood sugar is spiking, and then when they put the carbs back in their body, they start gaining more weight.
Yeah.
And they put on more weight than what they lost, frankly. And they're on this constant yo-yo diet of their hormones are unbalanced, their blood sugar is unbalanced, and there's constant roller coaster. So what we know as nutritionists, certified fitness nutritionists, is what we eat, putting our meals together in protein, fat, and carbs every 3 hours.
Yeah. You shared with me earlier some really grim statistics about the realities of where we are as a society, as a culture, in the fact that we overeat, we under-exercise, we're not doing the things that we should do. We know better, and yet we We're still eating that big bowl of cereal and cold milk at 11 o'clock at night. And we're wondering why. Tell us how serious the situation is. Talk about, those things that go hand in hand. Obesity, mental illness. Is that a possibility? They are kind of linked. So how serious is the problem? I call it a pandemic, an epidemic. I think it's as bad as COVID ever was. And you guys have probably seen the evidence of that.
Well, Phil, you tell me if you think this is a pandemic. 42% of adults in America are obese. So 42 out of 100 people. That's shocking. 66% of Americans are on prescription drugs. And many of them not just one, but multiple prescription drugs. 40% of older adults take 5 or more pharmaceutical medications.
Wow.
That's shocking. 95% of all the food that's consumed in America today is processed.
Wow.
It's boxed. It's got, it's in powdered form. It's got, chemicals and additives and preservatives and colorants and all of that added to it. 22% of veterans commit suicide every single day. And that number is doubled by all other first responders. So we have to look at what in the world is getting them to that spot where the desperation is so much that they feel the need to take their own lives. And then suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 24-year-olds. Suicide. That's shocking to me. And 1 in 6 children now have a mental disorder. Wow.
I
That's
have to,
a pandemic.
Yeah, you a little personal comment here. You really stopped me in my tracks when you mentioned suicide. I have suicide in my family, and it's a very sobering reality. And I think you've had some experience with that in your own family, haven't you, Michelle?
Yeah, my father committed suicide 4 years ago, and my brother committed suicide 15 years before my father did. So it's hit my immediate family twice. Yeah, it's so sad.
It's devastating. Yeah.
Talking about the gut-brain axis.
Man, I mean, there's so many different things that we could get into here, but I don't know if you're familiar with something called the gut-brain axis or the gut-brain barrier.
Tell us about it. What is
that? So there's so much that goes on that is created inside of the gut. So we all are made of bacteria. That's what our bodies are made out of, right? For the most part. And when our bacteria is out of kilter, or we don't have enough good bacteria that's feeding, and living in our intestines, we are not able to produce the hormones that make us have a sense of well-being. And we know that those hormones are serotonin, dopamine, GABA. If we're not producing them in our gut, they do not get to our brain, and we will not feel those feelings of overall wellness. Yeah. We can all remember when we were kids and what it felt like to just be carefree, to go outside and play, to go and you just, you felt just you felt normal. And so many people now are stuck. They wake up every single day. The alarm clock goes off. They don't know why they're getting out of bed. They don't have hope for the day. They don't feel good in their bodies. Their joints are hurting. Their bodies are inflamed. And this whole thing goes together with the things that we're putting inside our body, not to mention what's going on in our, outside of our bodies with atmospheric things. Yeah. With, radiation, with all kinds of pollutants that are added to food, that are in our water supplies, that are in, the cosmetics and the products that we're putting on top of our bodies. It's all damaging that bacteria that is supposed to be helping us live a healthy life.
And the reason why we got into being certified nutritionists, because we know there's a way. We figured, man, there's got to be a way. My mom's suffering with Alzheimer's dementia. It's like, it's like crazy. So when we got into this, I got into it being a fitness coach. I'm training these people, hundreds of people, 30, 60 a week. And I'm watching them after 2 years, their body composition changing. Like, well, why is that? It's because, like I said at the beginning of the show, 70 to 80% of our health and fitness goals is what we eat. You don't even have to work out that hard, even being a fitness coach. That I feel blasphemous to say that. What I'm telling you is that when people start eating the right ratio of protein, fat, and carbs, and understanding their food in a way, fat will burn, muscle will burn fat. and it will clear out our cardiovascular system. We think about heart attack being another number one killer, the silent killer, right? You don't see it. You go, the guy was skinny. He looked in shape. He died of a heart attack. Why? Because his veins had started collapsing. It's about introducing the nitric oxide effect to open up the blood vessels to accept the nutrients that we're taking. It's not how many nutrients you're taking or how good they are. It's about how much you get into your body, how much gets through your system to make you at your best health. We got into this because we had 3 or 4 friends die in COVID. As we look at the numbers who died through COVID, we look at the main factor is most of them, I'd say probably 90% of them were out of shape, unhealthy. I don't believe this is going to be the last pandemic that's going to hit us either. So where do we put our focus on our health? When we're 80 and 90 years old, that we can walk Yellowstone and Yosemite National Park with our grandchildren and enjoy our grandchildren, while the other half of the America is hooked up to IV in a hospital bed. That's our passion.
That's inspiring, and we need more people like you guys that are out there spreading the message that there is hope, that there are things that we can do to mitigate some of these dangers. The audience that's listening to this right now is primarily a man in his 30s, 40s, 50s. I'm curious, from your standpoint, Michelle, as a woman, you look at Vance's life, you look at him as a person, you look at your father, the father figure. You've worked around men all of your life. You hold an executive position in your role, what you do in Las Vegas, and you're managing a lot of people. How are men different from women? And going back to the suicide thing, why are men so much more predisposed to suicidal ideation and actually commit suicide than women? What is it about men? What's going on?
Well, my opinion on that is the way that we're created. The way that men are created, the way that women are created. The women are the maternal, right? We want to hold, we want to hug, we want to be secure, we want to be safe. Men's role throughout time has been to be the care, the one that's providing for the family, the one that is supposed to be getting out there and having vision and moving his family forward and, bringing home that financial paycheck. We know that now, both women and men are doing that. Sometimes women are making more, the wives are making more than their husbands, but still, I think innately put inside of us by God himself is that thing where men know this is on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And so men carry that burden and that responsibility. And, I don't think that men are so much consumed with their outward appearance like women are. Women are really focused on, do I look okay? Like, how am I stacking up?
Right.
I mean, am I getting old? Like, am I going to lose my, any beauty that I have? I don't think men walk around doing that all day long. I think, they think more about food than they think about how they, look. Honestly, Vance is always saying, what are we eating next? And I'm like, I have no idea. I mean, we just ate a half an hour ago and you're already wondering what we're going to have like for our next meal. But, I can look at someone like my husband who's 61 years old. And a lot of people look at him and they're like, there's no way, like you're not 61. And I look at him and I see him, going after those. I see him going after fitness. I see him, putting amazing things inside of his body because he wants to be around and he wants to inspire more people to be able to do that. So if we are living a healthy lifestyle and we are a product of what we are talking about and what we want to serve people with, it's going to be such a huge example. People can look at Vance and go, well, obviously, he's doing something right. He's 61 years old. He's a fitness coach. He's doing things that 20-year-olds right now can't even do. And that's because of good choices. And it's about making those choices over long term.
Yeah.
Nothing gets fixed overnight.
Yeah,
it may have taken you years to get where you're at in your body. It's going to take a little bit to get to a better place, but man, it's there and everybody can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much to think about with what you've just said and both of you have said. I want to pause here because I think this is a natural break. I want to come back to the question and ask you, Vance, really the same question of men. There's an element of for me, I mention this to my wife all the time. I'm built for conquest. When I wake up in the morning, I got to conquer something, and I don't know whether it's, I mean, I could go in a bunch of different directions, but the fact is, I'm all about sport and I'm all about conquering. And I'd like to unpack that a little bit more in the next segment here. We're going to pause for a break and then we're going to come back. But I'm really loving what we're talking about. So thank you so much for your honesty and incredible insight. So let's just stay tuned and we'll be back with you in a second. Okay, guys, we are in full holiday Christmas mode, and there's still plenty of time to get a great gift for your wife or your girlfriend or your loved one, your client, your neighbor, whoever it might be. I want to encourage you guys to seriously consider buying a gift from Lisa Starrett, Creative Warrior Studio. Lisa is a master craftsman. She does these beautiful, incredible tea lights. They're all one of a kind. They're made of glass, and she's selling them anywhere from $35 to $100. It's affordable for anyone, really, and they just light up a room. They're amazing pieces of art. And so if you want to take advantage of Lisa's special offer, 10% off anything on her website, you go to lisastarrett.com and take advantage of a 10% discount. So at the promo code part of the of checkout, you put in the code 10% Phil. That's 10% PHIL to get a 10% discount on anything on her store. And I want to tell you, when you give a gift and you purchase a gift from Lisa's website, a percentage of those profits go back to women's empowerment programs that she's championing around the world, particularly in Africa, to help women with microloans to expand their small businesses. So you're giving to a good cause. Lisa's a great person. She's got world-class art. You take advantage of that this holiday season, and your loved one will really love you for it. Okay, well, we are back with Vance and Michelle, and there's just so much that we're thinking about here as you're dispensing all this knowledge about health and fitness and wellness and so on. Right now, I don't want to waste any time. I want to get to this offer that you guys have made available to our listeners. For those folks who are listening to this that want to take a first step to begin to achieve some level of fitness and just to start getting on a better track of wellness, what are you offering? What can our folks do?
We're offering for your audience, Phil, 15-minute free consultations to just talk about health goals and figure out a plan of action. It doesn't have to be a plan of action that even moves forward with us, but we absolutely love being able to feel like we're helping people, being able to give people hope and give them simple steps to move forward in their health. If you can be 1% better tomorrow than you were today, that's the goal, is taking those, those steps. And sometimes they're baby steps, and that's okay. But a 15-minute consultation, we can talk about quite a bit in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And we can give you some pointers and we can steer you in the right direction to start, kickstarting your health and being able to get into the holidays without that mindset of, well, I'm going to just gain 15 pounds over the holidays. I'll deal with it in January. I mean, really, honestly, most people do feel that, and I understand that completely. But if we can actually go into the holidays and we can come out of the holidays maybe 3 or 4% better than we went into them, man, that's a win. And then we can start January off with a kick. And we can just go, you know what, let's slay our health goals. Let's make 2023 the year that I take my health back. And then I'm able to start doing the things I want to do in life.
Yeah. So what comes to mind for me is if I take you up on this offer, I call you up and I say, let me tell you what I'm really struggling with, among many things, is the fact that I'm a binge eater. And like last night, for real, after I did a shopping trip to Trader Joe's, I bought this incredible caramel corn, which looked like it didn't have that many calories or carbs. Well, I ate the whole thing. It's, for 12, serving for 12. I ate the whole thing, the whole bag. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm a binge snacker. So give me some snack tips. Can you get some snack tips? If we call you, will you be able to tell us, hey, you have cravings and here's why you have cravings. And here's some really simple hacks that you can use to, to stave off the cravings and get back on and, so on. Well, can you help with that?
Absolutely. So first thing I would do is to teach people how to eat the right ratio of protein, fat, and carbs. When you start binge eating on things like that, it's because your body is craving protein. It's craving fat. So we get into this and we eat this. Now, I mean, we don't want to really binge at times. We want to balance our food and know how to love our food and not look at it as a deprivation or a diet.
Yeah.
Well, you can love your food. There's amazing food out there. So one of the root causes of all diseases is inflammation. So when we eat those inflammatory foods, you had processed sugar in there. So that's inflaming your body. Your joints are aching. You're like, what? I'm just getting old. My joints are, no, you're not getting old. Your joints aren't aching because your joints are aching because you're inflamed by eating all kinds of refined sugars. You're eating, these inflammatory foods, gluten, salt, all these things. And we teach your listeners or anyone we talk to, it's our passion to show them how to eat and love their food and eat it in the right balance. Because when you balance your food in the right balance of a protein, fat, and carb, you will no longer binge on that one thing. You will fill it with the right things.
You crush your cravings, actually. So you get to the point where you're not craving those things anymore at all. And you're learning how to replace those things that are bad for you with foods that taste equally as good, but are actually good for your body. And that's what we love to help people with, because people think they have to eat a pint of Bluebell ice cream, to get rid of that insatiable craving. And it's like, no, your body's yelling at you. It needs nutrients. It needs food. You're thinking that it needs the ice cream, but it doesn't. And so we can show people how to make those healthy. We have even desserts that are actually meals, but they taste like you're eating a big dessert. So you feel like you're guilty, and you're really not. You're actually setting your body up for success.
MCT oil in it, protein. I was teaching a group fitness class the other day, and a guy came in and he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to do this. So he did it. And he said, yeah, I had to stop after the bicep workout, man. I started getting dizzy. I was going to pass out. I said, well, what did you eat? He said, oh, I just had, a bowl of cereal with my child, about an hour before. I said, yeah. So you spiked your blood sugar, right after you got through the warm-up track and into your lunge track, you already burnt through that sugar. You didn't have any protein. I said, tomorrow, you go ahead and you eat 2 full eggs, a half a cup of egg whites, some spinach, some garlic fried up in a pan, saute it. Go try that and come back. You're not going to run out of energy because now you have your protein, your fat, and your carbs. Yeah. Eat a little half a kiwi with it, whatever for the carb. People don't understand what real whole food is anymore is the problem.
We're not taught. And Phil, this is crucial. Are you taught as a kid how to put your meals together to fuel your body? Okay, we're taught how to put the right amount of transmission fluid, gasoline, windshield wiper fluid in our car. So we get that, right? We're never taught how to fuel our body. You have to go out and seek the information. They will not teach you this in school. Your kids will never learn what a balanced meal looks like. What is a protein, fat, and carb balanced meal? You have to go study and become a nutritionist to figure that out. That's a crime. That is a crime.
Yeah. Well,
a little passionate there, but yeah.
No, I'm thinking about all everything that you're saying. I eat the cereal, I'm eating the chocolate and all that. By the way, I learned that dark chocolate isn't bad for you, right?
Amazing for you.
Yeah, it's got antioxidants and good caffeine, or it can give you a buzz that regular caffeine can give you, and it's actually okay as long as it's not high in sugar content, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Now, once again, when you eat that, you're going to want to balance that with the proper foods that you're going to balance it with.
Yeah.
That's what we would talk to your listeners about. What do I eat when I eat that? How do I understand that?
Give us the phone number for how to get a hold of you or your website. What do we do?
Yes. So you can get a hold of us 2 different ways. For the men, contact Vance at 702-358-9536. Throw him a text. Let him know that you would like to set up a 15-minute consultation, health consultation. And there is no obligation to do anything. We're just going to give you information that's going to help you. Again, that number is 702-358-9536. 9536. For the ladies that might be listening, some of you wives out there, some of you girlfriends out there might be listening to this show, you can get a hold of me directly. And my number is 702-742-7027. Again, that number is 702-742-7027. And we're super glad to set up those times with you, spend 15 minutes kind of talking about what your lifestyle looks like, and we'll give you some practical steps moving forward that you can start making that 1% better every day change.
Fabulous. Fabulous. That's fantastic. Lance, I want to go back to the question that I posed to Michelle about the difference between men and women. And I think she had a really good perspective viewing the man as a woman, her perceptions through the lens of a woman and being married to you and having a father and working around men all the time. What do you think? I mean, the suicide rate is so staggering. It's such a telling number. It's one of the few things, one of the few data points that confirm that men struggle more than women. And there are probably other data points, but guys are so damn scared to share reality with, even in a survey or even in a counseling session. Or for me, like, I go to these Bible studies every once in a while, and I don't want to bash the Christian experience or the institution of the Bible study or the men's group, but in a lot of cases, it's kind of a charade because guys are not being honest with each other. They say that they have each other's backs and they're accountable. It's not true. They're not talking about real things, and they're not being real honest about how close when they come into this group, they're thinking about suicide, or they're about ready to lose their family, their finances, their home, their life's a mess. They're not talking about it. What is it about men that is creating this dynamic that's causing us to kill ourselves or to anesthetize the pain that we're experiencing? And nobody knows about it. Can you talk about that?
Well, I would say for me, that's not really my realm. I think Michelle did really well at that. I wouldn't know what I could add to what she already said, because she's dealt with this with her father or brother committed suicide. She's a lot more adversed about the gut brain barrier and how it ties together, about the good pro and postbiotics. For me, I'm more of a fitness coach on how do we get healthy? How do we make sure, that we're going to live a long, healthy life where we're mobile, we can run with our kids, things like that. That would be, I don't know, to answer your question, how I would expand on that any more than Michelle did, or any more that she may add to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the reason I bring it up is that, I keep looking at my life as a man holistically. Trail Masters is a movement of guys that are committed to looking at life holistically. You're not just mental, you're not just physical, you're not just spiritual, you're not just financial, you're not just, there's a bunch of things that go into who you are as a man. And we've defined those as 9 pillars that we focus on. But as a mentally, there's the physical that's informing our mental state, and the emotional, like you said, with the gut health and so forth. But I'm a big proponent that if you're going to be healthy mentally, there are a number of things that you have to focus on. Health, or nutrition being one of them, and physical fitness being another one, but also therapy, going to a trusted therapist or a clergyman or somebody, any guy or family member that you can really trust, that you can share your feelings with and tell some secrets about what's really going on. And then medication. I don't know how you feel about medical intervention. Sometimes antidepressants or sometimes anti-anxiety drugs can help people. I would guess that you have a slightly different opinion about that and can look to other types of more natural ingredients that can help somebody to get more mentally healthy. Can you talk about that for a second? Are there things that you would recommend in terms of guys that are strung out and they can't sleep at night, or they're just freaking anxious all the time?
Yeah, man, we firmly believe that we have on this planet what we need to heal our bodies. With that being said, there are times when people are going through so much mentally that they have to get to a place where they can just mellow, right? They've got to get to the point where those emotions aren't swinging wildly. And so I believe that there are times when we have to intervene with a man-made pharmaceutical that can help that situation. And I would say that that is, that's something that has to be, closely monitored. I do know that people can find relief through natural means, through food, through nutrients. I believe that we walk by weeds every single day and plants every single day. When I go walk down to my mailbox, I'm walking by flowers and plants all the way there. And I know that God has created those with medicinal properties, right?
I
And
believe
we
that.
know
Yeah.
all of the ancient cultures, that have been here before us have figured that out as well. And so unfortunately, the first thing that's given is the pharmaceutical. That's where the problem is, because we are now messing with our chemical balance in our body, the way that God naturally created things to run, because the first choice is a man-made pharmaceutical. If we can find those natural sources through plants and through whole food nutrition to balance hormones, men have hormones too, Phil. So I could say, Phil, you're being hormonal today, and it would be true, right? Because like that, men have hormones just like women do. Ours are just highlighted a little bit more. But there are so many natural things that we can do. So both of us are huge, just advocates for let's try and find the natural way first. And if that is not working, then we may have to intervene in another way.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the way we have learned and the way we have shared our knowledge with people, man, people that have gotten off prescription drugs like a crazy amounts that were on prescription drugs that are no longer on them now.
Yeah, diabetics being able to cut their insulin in half in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, by being on an anti-inflammatory eating plan. So amazing. And knowing, seeing people walk through this and seeing people journey through this and learn how to put the right fuel in their bodies, man, we celebrate with them as their coaches. We feel so personally invested in what's going on in their health. And I think everybody needs someone in their corner. Nobody wants to go, try and get healthy on their own in a closet, locked up in their house.
Or be shoved a bunch of pharmaceuticals.
No, we're supposed to be in community. And you said something important, Phil. You said, men need other men that they can go talk to. Absolutely. Men need accountability friends that they can be real with, that they can be like, you know what? I woke up this morning and I wasn't all right. Like I was not cool today. I have a lot going on up here, and I think I need to cycle through this, and I need to get it out some way. And sometimes that can be through going and lifting some weights, throwing some weights around the gym. Maybe you get together, with your friend, you go out to coffee, you hang out, you talk about real stuff, right? Not in surfaceable, but like you get down to the nitty gritty. All of us need that.
I'm laughing right now. It's sad, first of all, that we live in one of the most over-medicated societies in the world. I had one of my doctors said that better than 50% of the people that come through his doors are folks that are experiencing some kind of mental distress. And for the vast majority, he's prescribing some kind of medication for them. And it's the first line of defense, really, isn't it, to throw pharmaceuticals at particularly antidepressants. Up here in Seattle, because of SADS, sudden affective disorder, everybody's on some kind of an antidepressant. I have a really good friend whose son committed suicide because he was improperly prescribed a concoction of antidepressants that resulted him in his being delusional and taking his life. So that's very real. And the fact that you are attesting to the fact that there are alternatives that are more effective. But sometimes it takes time, doesn't it? It takes experimenting to find out what kind of, whether it's melatonin or, St. John's wort or, some other kind of those natural remedies that can level us out. That doesn't come easy overnight. Sometimes it's a process of time, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, even getting out in the sun for 20 minutes a day, which I know where you're at is hard to do on a
Yeah.
lot of days. But there's other natural things that we can do, increasing our vitamin D levels. That's crucial to our mental well-being, to our immune system function, all of that. So we've got some natural things that we can do. So many people are just working indoors and they never get outside. They get outside once in a blue moon if they, go to the store and they're going from their car to the store, but that's not enough sunshine. Like, we need more of that to give us that feel good.
Yeah.
And well balance.
And a lot of times the only light they're getting is 10 hours of screen time on their laptop or their computer. That's the extent of the light that they're getting, or from, a halogen lamp.
Fluorescence and LEDs is what they're
Yeah,
getting. That's not what we need. We need
Yeah.
the actual sunshine on our body, on our temples,
But then,
on our hands. That's where we need that.
and then just the walking too. I mean, like if you walk after every meal that you eat, it will naturally help balance your blood sugar.
Yep.
People aren't getting enough exercise. You don't need to go pump iron. You can walk, to
Absolutely.
Let's move on to physical fitness. Let's move on to some basic regimen of fitness or exercise that you could recommend, Vance, to any of us right now that are approaching the holidays. Before we do that, I want to ask you again, you've offered this 15-minute free consultation with each of you individually. For the women, it's you, Michelle. For the men, it's you, Vance. What are your phone numbers again so that they can contact you? Vance, what's your cell phone?
mine's 702-358-9536. Again, that's 702-358-9536. I say that because I'm writing it, because I'm a slow.
and we're high tech here, right? We're not putting titles up. We don't have the technology. We don't want the technology to flash cool stuff on the screen because we don't have to. This is like unscripted. It's unfiltered, right? So, Michelle, what about yours? What's your number again?
Mine is 702-742-7027. 702-742-7027.
15-minute consultation on anything to get you back on track with your fitness. Let's talk about what can I do? I have not been in a gym for years. I'm fat, or I'm fatter. My body, guy like you has a fat body mass index of BMI, whatever it is, of probably 6, 7, 8%. Mine's probably 50%. So we got to start somewhere. So if I'm not going to go into a gym, what are we gonna do for me?
First thing we want to do is reduce the inflammation. We want to get rid of the inflammation. We want to go on, removing those inflammatory foods for 21 days until we get rid of the inflammation. We've got to get rid of the inflammation. That is the root cause of all disease. Number 2 is just walking after every meal. We have to balance our blood. We have to balance our blood sugar. We don't want our blood sugar spiking. And the only way we do that is understanding our foods and how to eat it. Number 3 would be if right after the walk, if you're in maybe even 15, 20 minutes, start on some kind of a strength training program. There's several ones you can get. There's one Body Beast, it's called, they're DVDs you can order probably Craigslist for pennies on the dollar, or one of these used stores if people still have DVD players, or maybe you can get a digital mark, but something that's going to make you push weight, because after you reach 25, 30 years old, your bones start to deteriorate. The only thing that prevents that is pushing weight. You have to push weight to build bone density. Our bones will deteriorate, just like our collagen, lack of collagen, all that starts going away.
Yep.
And so doing small baby steps, man. Yeah. Like if you're in an office working for 8 hours, you should get up every 60 minutes and go walk around the office and stretch your arms, maybe get down, do 10 push-ups, but do something to get that, like Michelle said, 1% better.
Yep.
Walk after every meal for 10 minutes, go walk somewhere. But pushing that weight is important too. 2-3 days a week. And I could certainly, with a phone consultation, get someone on a program to do that, on how to do that properly to get the most benefit.
Yep.
So you could even help me if I didn't have any weights at all. Like I sold all mine at a garage sale not too long ago. I had a bench and all that stuff, barbells. I sold all of it because now I get to go to a gym. because I can, and it's very close to my house. And even though I don't go as often as I'd like to, I do go to the gym. But even just gravity is helpful. I mean, you can do a lot of calisthenics, can't you? And you can recommend that in a 15-minute consultation about how to get started just in your bedroom, for that matter, right?
Absolutely. So I would say this too, for the people that have a gym or that go to a gym, man, if they have a group fitness class, go to it. There's a few different good ones. There's one called Body Pump. It's a full body workout. It's an entire body workout. It is extremely challenging, but it will get you your fitness goals with your cardio and your weightlifting all in one day. You do it 3 days a week, maybe a Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. And then in between, just stretch.
Yeah.
Just stretch. But
It's
you go
important.
in, you're in and out. See, because when you know how it is, Phil, man, when you go to a gym, you're like waiting. This guy's on his text phone while he's doing his tricep pull downs. And you're like, dude, can I work in a set? No, I'm doing my, and he's sitting there and you got to wait for the machine. Like, how frustrating is that, right?
Yeah.
So get into a group fitness class. It's going to push you, because look at it, Phil. People that are around other people that are working out, they're like, I'm not going to let this girl pass me up. I got to stay in the game here. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just did 30 push presses. I better stay in the game, or at least try, you know? So getting something that's going to challenge each other, you're getting around community, you're building that community, you're building those friendships that keep a healthy mind too. Because once you get your body healthy, your food right, and you start getting into shape and feeling better, man, your mind is going to be in a whole different place.
Yeah. Awesome. You guys, we got to wrap up. I would love to continue this conversation for another hour. In fact, when we get off the phone, we get off this event, I'm going to get a hold of you and schedule you for another session to come back and have another conversation with us, because there's just so much here. We love you guys, and we wish you the best holiday season. Enjoy yourselves. Don't eat too much. Of course, you're not going to. And we'll just see you next time. And I hope our guests take it, or our visitors to this podcast will take advantage of your offer. So thank you again for your generosity of time. So take care, you guys.
You're welcome, Phil. Thank you so much, Phil.
All right. Take care.
Right,
bye-bye.
Jim.